Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth. My pronouns are she, her. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. This is Savory Sewing. You can also find me on Instagram at Savory Sewing. It is Sunday, December 28th, 2025. There are 3 days left of 2025, and I am going to show you all of my finishes for the year. I have 38 finishes in 2025. I was going to see, how does that compare to last year? Well, last year I had 50. So fewer. In 2023 I had 55. In 2022 I had 41. So I didn't finish as many things this year as in years past, but I finished some big things that had been started several years ago, and so I had focused on trying to get some of those big things finished. So hopefully what I lack in number, I make up for in size and quality. All right. They are in no particular order. Some years I've done this chronologically. This year it is sort of chronological, but also somewhat subject-based. Like, I've put all the Christmas finishes together. All the fall Halloween ones are mostly together. But other than that, there's really no rhyme or reason to the order. So it's not completely random, but it's not also in finish order. And I did fully finish a couple things. One that I haven't even, where'd it go? There it is. One I just fully finished this morning that I'm very excited about. So I'd gotten some frames finally. Actually, no, I had the frames. I didn't have any mat board. So I finally got that. So I fully finished a bunch of stuff in the last like 24 hours. So I'm excited. So let's get started. I also want to show off my new sweater. It's very bright on camera. It's not cross stitched, but it's embroidered. I found it at not really a consignment store, but kind of a consignment store when I was out doing some post-Christmas shopping. And it's fuzzy and festive, and it's got stitching on it. So, yay, new sweater. Okay, stitching. So first thing I'm going to show you, I finished this in January of this year. It was a start with Stephanie from Cross Stitch Globe and Allie from Allie's Crafty, although she hasn't finished hers, but Stephanie did. And also, Katie the Peacock Stitcher also stitched it. This is Moonglow by Nora Corbett. This was a Nora November start in 2023, I'm pretty sure. And I finished this in January of 2025. Unfortunately, it's still not framed because I just haven't found the frame for it. But here is my finish. She is all beaded and stitched and ready for her forever home. The fabric is a 28 count Lugana, right? Nope, it's a linen, from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. The color is olive. It's a lot lighter. The called for, I think, is like Mediterranean blue, if I remember correctly, so it's darker. This is something I had in stash, and so I used it. My hair is annoying. And it's all the called for. So the DMC and the Karen water lilies and beads. So pretty. How gorgeous she is. Oh, so good. So good. So she needs a frame. I need to get her framed and hung, but maybe that'll be a 2026 goal. Right. Ooh. I didn't make a place to put these when they were done. All right, they're just going to go on my lap for now. Next is called Be Queer, Do Stitchcraft, and it is from Noctiflora Designs. This was part of a Stitch for Pride pattern bundle from, I want to say 2022, and I started it in 2023. I'm not sure if you can buy this pattern on her website. I've never gone back and looked, but I finished this also in January of this year, and it's so cheerful. It needs a frame. It will fit in a standard frame. It is about an 8-inch square. I just haven't found one when I've been out thrifting yet, so Surprisingly, square frames are really hard to find. So the fabric is a Lugana 32 count from Fiberlicious Homey Fibers in the colorway Razzmatazz. And it's such a pretty fabric. And the floss, there's two colors. It's DMC 310 is the black, and the blue purple variegated is called Auntie D's, I think, by Classic Colorworks. So this will be an easy, fully finish once I find a frame. I've also entertained the idea of turning it into like a pillow or a little wall hanging. I think it would make a cute little wall hanging, or even just a zip bag, because it is stitching related, and it would be nice to have like something to have, you know, put more stitching stuff in. Yeah, so those are the first two. So the next one is by Hands On Design, and so it's called the Stitching Parliament, and this was one of the patterns that came with the Superb Owl Stitch Night that Lindy Stitches and Hands On Design did in 2023. No, sorry, 2024. They're not doing that event anymore. It was one of those virtual events. It was on Superb Owl Sunday, which I celebrate every year. But they're not doing any more. Apparently, there's this other thing that happens on that day that some folks would rather go do. I, for one, as I'm sipping out of my owl mug, would rather be celebrating Superb Owl Sunday. Anyway, I only ended up stitching one of the little owls. I intended to stitch all of them. I thought they would be really cute as this way, like all crossed and turned into a drum. Realistically, I decided that was probably never going to happen, and so I just stitched snips. He is stitched with all the called for DMC, and this fabric is 30, I think I stitched it 2/2, so I'm pretty sure this is 32 or 36 count. I think it's Highland by Picture This Plus. It's a really pretty fabric. And I could, in theory, since I haven't fully finished this, stitch the rest of them and do that. And I could also still turn this into like a drum. I was thinking it would be a really cute little like fabric stand-up situation to hold supplies, but I haven't finished. I just needed him to be done, so he's done. Look how cute he is. So cute. Next is, oh, my surprise. This is my surprise fully finished. If you follow me on Instagram, this is a surprise because I haven't posted it yet. But it's a surprise if you haven't been following me. Anyway, this is from The Witchy Stitcher. It's called Leave Me Alone. It says Leave Me Alone. I'm cross stitching. I started this with, oh my gosh, I can see your face. I am blinking on your name. Cozy Town Stitches, right? One of the Hathaway Stitchers. Your name is just not in my brain right now. Anyway, we started this. She finished hers. I think Caroline from Caroline's Stitch Corner also started this with us, and she finished hers, and I was the last one to finish mine. But it's now finished, and look, it's even fully finished. Oh, I'm so excited. So the fabric is, oh goodness gracious, I can't recall. It's either Brew Crew or Witch's Brew by XJU Designs, and it is stitched with all the called for DMC. And this fabric, or sorry, and the frame I just found at Goodwill yesterday for like $3.99, and it was like a tan gold color, and I just painted it black, and then I brushed a little more gold on top. You can kind of see ever so slightly it's got a little bit of hint of gold to it. So I'm so excited. And it's just you know, it's you know, you would have bought this at maybe like frame store for it's not a custom frame, is what I'm saying. It's just a standard size. So I'm so happy. So happy. And it matches Witchcrafts, also by the Witchy Stitcher. So they're gonna live together. They're the same fabric, and very, very similar color palettes. Might also be nearly the same. And so that's why I wanted a little bit of gold on the frame so they could hang out together and be pretty. Yeah. back up here. And one more look at this gorgeousness. And that is, I don't know, I think we're on number 4 or 5. Is that only number 4? Oh yeah. We are 10 minutes in on or not FFO, but unfinished number 4. All right. Next is another FFO, actually. This is a pattern that's a freebie from Stitch X Love, so Stitch_X_Love. That's their Instagram handle, and they have a Etsy shop and a Ko-Fi, I think. But this is their freebie. It's called Vintage Crafts, Not Vintage Values. And here's my little fully finish. I did stitch this again on the bottom. I turned it upside down and stitched it because I wanted it to fit in a standard frame. This is I think this is a 4x6 or a 5x7 frame, and if you add the motif on the bottom, it fits perfectly. I stitched this with DMC that I color matched to my Pyrex collection, as one does. I don't remember what they are, but they are Classic Colorworks that I color matched to. I have some butter print and some of the pink, so the teal, the pink, and the red. And then the fabric, I think it's 14 count. Yeah, it's 14 count. It's 14 count lamb's wool Aida, because I thought that, like, that's the vintage vibe I was going for. And these felt like Pyrex motifs to me, and usually this lives out with my Pyrex on my hutch. If I remember, I'll pop a picture in here if you haven't seen this. And this frame is just, I either thrifted this or it came from like Home Goods. I don't remember. But one of my favorites. One of my favorites, and a good thing to remember as we're doing our vintagey crafts. You know, vintage crafts, not vintage values. Good motto to live by. Okay, now this isn't fully finished yet, mostly because I haven't found a frame for it. This is a pattern from Autumn Lane Stitchery. This was in a Just Cross Stitch magazine, but I know you can get the PDF on their website. It might actually be a paper copy too, but I can't recall. It's Happy Halloween. So cute. The fabric is, I know it's Forbidden Fiber Co. I want to say it's creme brulee or toasted something or other. It's all called for DMC. And then if you put the pattern picture back up. But the pattern, you're supposed to stitch everything that's in here to look like the moon. And I didn't want to, and I had this fabric which I thought looked a lot like what you would have hypothetically stitched. And so I feel like once it has a frame around it, it's going to look really nice eventually, someday. But isn't he so cute? It's a really nice little easy stitch. Only like, I think there's only maybe 5 or 6 DMCs in this whole thing. So it's a nice little pattern. A lot of detail. All right, the next one is another fully finished that I just did. Last night, there a pile. I had a little fully finishing party, listening to an audiobook. My partner was out of town. I had an Aperol Spritz, and I did some lacing. So this is the Stitcher's Grimoire by the Witchy Stitcher. I first got this as part of her Patreon. This is a Patreon pattern back in, I want to say 2023, maybe 20, yeah, because I think 23 was the year she started Patreon. But I know you can now get this as a PDF on her website. Here's my... The fabric is Lugana from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. It's 32 count, and the color is, I want to say it's Autumnal Orchard. It's not one I think you can get. It was a fabric of the month. But you can see it's just got like these greens and reds and dirty browns in it. And I thought it looked old and would be a good backdrop for this pattern. And so if you've never seen this before, the idea is that it's a grimoire. So it's a spell book for things that will make you lucky in stitching, or spells to help you with your stitching. And so you've got perfect French knots, You know, your thread chicken victory. What's it say? No, can't read that word. No knots. No little frog here burning in its cauldron. And this frame, I think, came from. I think this came from an estate sale. It was just an empty frame, like no back or anything. I still need to put paper on the back of all of these, but they're framed. So, very excited to have that done. So good. I can tell I'm a Witchy Stitcher fan, especially her sewing themed, craft themed patterns. I've stitched quite a few of them. All right, next on the list is a Michelle Bendy Stitchy design. I think this was a Patreon pattern. Pretty sure this was a Patreon pattern. I'm in one of her Patreon levels, and you get a pattern a quarter. I'm pretty sure this is one of them, but now I can't recall because I don't think she's released this one yet. But here's my little finish, and it says, "Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly," and then I put my initials in the year. The fabric is Summer Soiree Lugana, also from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. I have quite the Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers stash from being in the fabric of a month, so I stitch a lot on that. It's all 32 count, all Lugana. All the fun colors in my stash are 32 count Lugana from Fiberlicious. The floss is from, who is she? Oh, it's also from Fiberlicious, yeah. This is an all Fiberlicious endeavor. It is one of her silks. I don't remember what the colorway was, but you can see it's this really, it's called like Autumn something, which I thought was funny because the fabric is like was from one of her spring releases, and the floss was from the autumn release, and they go beautifully together. This I am probably going to pop into a frame. I just don't have one of the right size. Again, square frames are hard to thrift. I think it would also make a really nice flat fold, but I haven't been in the mood. Flat folds are I think the most intense of the fully finishes, and so I have to be in the mood, and then I try to like assembly line a bunch of them because there's just a lot of like wrapping, and if you glue, a lot of gluing and what have you. But really like that. Okay. Next is a pattern from Rebel Stitcher Designs, Colleen, and she has this book called Civil Samplers, and there are 3 different patterns in there. One is a Maya Angelou quote. One is, what's his name? John Lewis, a good trouble. And the one I've stitched so far, which is Shirley Chisholm, it says, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." Oh, here, I'll move it a little bit closer because I think it's a little hard to read. Shirley Chisholm, I'm pretty sure it's Shirley. Sorry, Shirley, if it's not. Was the first Black representative in the House of Representatives. It was a Black female, but definitely, I think she might have been the first. It's all stitched in Classic Colorworks, and the fabric, I don't recall, but it's like this pretty gray neutral. I think it's called Born DMC, and I subbed in Classic Colorworks that were like similar colors. Can't decide if this is going to be a cute little long pillow or if I'm going to make it into a flat fold. I think in the picture she's got it as a nice little long pillow. But, yeah. All right. Next is a pattern that I stitched on No King's Day. This was a freebie released by Tuscan Cardinal. I believe you can still get this. This is on their Instagram page. And this might be on the same fabric. No, it's not. This is on, I don't know, neutral something, and I believe it's a Forbidden Fiber Co. variegated black. It might be a Pirate and Robin variegated black. I can't remember now. And it says No Kings, and it's got a guillotine on it and a cute little skull. I stitched this on No King's Day this year in June. I haven't decided how this is going to get finished yet. It feels like weird to turn this into a pillow. I feel like it would make a cool patch or something. I don't know. It was very cathartic to stitch this. I enjoyed it immensely. Thank you, Lindsay, for the pattern. All right. Next, we have this one. This is from Lindy Stitches. It is called A Stitch for Sweet Freedom. This was on my list of patterns that I wanted to finish this year. I had made, at the beginning of the year, a list of 20 whips that I wanted to get finished in 2025. I think I got 14 or 15 done, which I'm pretty proud of. And this was one of them. And this is what it looks like. It says, a stitch for sweet freedom, and one for being kind, two more for diversity. Uh-oh. The last for humble mind. I just realized it's not actually finished. Look. It says two more, just the letter R, diversity. So we're gonna have to remedy that. It still counts as a finish. Good thing I read that to y'all. I would have framed this and never realized I didn't actually finish it. Oh, good. Oh, good. So, some info about this. It is on 36 count acid wash linen from Forbidden Fiber Co. And it's stitched with mostly the called for. I know I subbed a couple. I can't remember if it was all DMC or if it was some over dyes and I subbed, but it's roughly this color. Like a blue is still a blue, a white is still a white. Oh goodness. I hope I still have that floss. Oh good. Oh good. All right, so next we're gonna look at a project that is a finish for now / fully finished. It is this year's Stitch for Pride from Dee's 20 Stitches. And I am going to hopefully remember who is honored every single month in this project. Let's see if we can pull that off, folks. I'm going to cheat a little bit and pull up So the 2025 Stitch for Pride Stitch Along by Dee's 20 Stitches is a monthly release, so there's a motif a month. And this year's Stitch Along is inspired by two-spirit, trans, and gender non-conforming figures from history. And so every month we got a pattern and some learning about each of them. And so I'm going to show you. So I don't have them all done. I have done through August. I've got 4 more. And so I'm just going to, so it's a finish. I counted each one of them as a finish this year, each pattern, each month, but the whole thing is still a whip because I still have those 4 left to do. There was also a floss pack that was available, but it was very limited, and this was released during the Canadian Postal Strike, probably December, January of last year. Or last year in early 2025, because it's still 2025 for 3 more days. And so a lot of folks, either one, couldn't get it because it was so limited, or the postal strike really put a wrench in things. And so I decided to stitch mine in monochromatic. 1, because I had some beautiful flosses to use, and 2, to save myself some mental load this year, because 2025 was rough. I don't know for the rest of you, but going into it, I knew it was going to be rough. And so, so mine's not as colorful or as gorgeous as some of the other ones out there. So I highly recommend you go and check out other folks' stitching, especially if they were able to get the beautiful flosses that were dyed by Algie Ross. those were all dyed and inspired by something from nature from wherever the folks who were being honored lived. And so really, really great information too in the learning about where they draw to their inspiration from. So anyway, with all of that, let me show you mine, where we are right now. So this is Gray Magic linen from Beef Stitch Mate, and this is 36 count, I'm pretty sure. And the floss is called Wisdom by Dyeing for Sass. And so I'm going to pop up as we go through each month the inspired or the actual stitched version, because it's in the colorway that was dyed for it. And I'll just show you each of my little finishes each month. So for January, we had Elagabalus. They were an emperor of Rome. And this depicts them, I believe, throwing rose petals. Let me see, what does it say? She would drown guests in rose petals. And so I believe she's throwing rose petals lounging there. And number 2, we had Hatshepsut. This is the dyed for, and that one is this one here. This cool looking bird motif. She was a pharaoh in Egypt in the 15th century BC. And I believe that motif is inspired by, that's her hawk. And then for, March, and Shujin is, I believe, how you pronounce it. I've watched the YouTube video like 17 times and I still can't ever remember how to say it. But she was known as the woman knight of the Mirror Lake. She was a 19th century feminist, revolutionary poet who's considered a national heroine in China. And it's this one here. Oh, here, picture. You guys have been enjoying that. And so you've got this beautiful dragon on a sword. For April, we have Oza Windib, who was a Native American, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they were she was a chief and also a guide, and that's this one here. And you can see there's some really nice they're half stitches, but they give that some really nice texture in the pattern there. All right, so for May, we've got, I think this is Mary Jones? No, this is Chevalier Dion. And that is this one here. This kind of fleur-de-lis looking situation, which makes sense because her name is Charlotte, I don't know. Funny story, not funny story, but in Michigan there is a town that's spelled Charlotte, but you say it's Charlotte. So sometimes my Michigan comes out. So anyway, Charlotte Dion de Beaumont was employed by King Louis XV, and she was a spy. She was, this is inspired, I believe, by the Order of St. Louis, which was an order that was given to her by the king. St. Louis, I guess St. Louis, not St. Louis. There's the American coming out. All right, so June, this is Mary Jones, and this is inspired by a comb, which I think this one is my favorite, just because I think it's so pretty, and I really like the black work in it. So she, a gender variant sex worker, lived in the mid-1800s in New York, where she worked at the Green Street brothel as a domestic laborer. While not much is known about her life, her court testimony about her life provides some of the earliest descriptions of gender variance in the Black community. And this is based on a comb that was from that time period. Look at the beautiful black work. And then we've got 2 more that I have finished. So because I don't have them all done, I'm not going to shoot them all. But here's July's. This is Emilio Robles Avila. And he was in the Mexican Army, fought with the Zapatistas, and had a role in the Mexican Revolution. And yeah, that really great looking situation right there. It looks really beautiful in the pink red colorway. And then finally, the last one that I just finished this past week is Saint Anastasia, the patrician. She became a lady in waiting in the court of the Byzantine Emperor Theodore in 6th century Constantinople. She founded a monastery before living in solitude, dressing as a male monk for 28 years. And so that is this water jug right here. And then I remember reading that like her last words were on a piece of broken pottery. And so this broken water jug represents that. But it's also really beautiful. So I only have the 4 more. They're all going to be somewhere there in the middle. So September, October, November, December. A lot of folks have finished theirs already. I just didn't keep up. And then I'm going to try to focus on getting as much of this done in the next week before the new year. There is not going to be a Stitch for Pride in 2026. So I won't be that behind or we'll be trying to catch up on this one while starting 2026s because there isn't one to stitch. Okay, so that is, I don't know what number we're on. I think we're halfway done. Yes, that was number 19. So we're about halfway through my finishes for 2025. And now we're going to move on to some Christmas finishes. And so first, I've got a fully finished object for you, framed, and it's been up all holiday season so far. This is Vintage Ladies. This is from a, I think, Cross Stitcher magazine. It was artwork by Siobhan Harrison, and then it was adapted for Cross Stitch. And here is mine. I'm so happy to have these ladies done. There's a lot of back stitching in this. This is Sakura Lugana from Fiberlicious Homemade Fibers. I don't remember if it's, oh look, and that's puppy hair, and that's puppy hair. Hang on, let me pick the dog hair off like a classy person. I think it's 32 count, and I've stitched it with all the called for DMC, except I did change the color of her skin, and maybe also her hair, definitely her skin tone. I think the hair actually was called for, and then I just picked a floss that looked like it would go nicely with the hair color. What else to say about this? This is just an off-the-shelf frame from Home Goods, and I love them. I do think I have to relace it though, because I put something under here so it would be a little bit puffy, and it's kind of bulging in spots. So I might have to redo this, but not this year. Also, I'm probably the only one who noticed this, but love these ladies. That back stitching, I'm just like remembering back to, I was trying to frantically finish this on New Year's Eve last year, and I just could not get all that back stitching done. My eyes were just dying, and so they didn't get finished. I wanted this to be my last finish of 2024, and then they ended up not getting finished until July of 2025 because the back stitching was just, it was a lot. And then I got new glasses because I'm now I've been in my 40s for a minute, but my eyes are finally starting to that place where I have to have readers for some small things, and I really don't want to admit that. But so good. All right. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about my Bobble Whipco board. And so I'm going to put a picture up here of where we ended up. So one of my Whipco boards for 2025 was based off of the Jingle Ball Bobble books. And this is inspired by Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. We had been talking about this, I think, at the 2024 Jingle Ball, is that we had these books and we never finished any of the patterns. I think I hadn't stitched any of them. And so she wanted to make a WIPGO board, and she had a whole video last year on pulling the projects for her WIPGO board. And what I did out of sheer laziness is I took her numbers, and then if they were a project I wanted to stitch as well, I kept them. And if I didn't want to stitch that particular project, I subbed in either another project from the Bobble books that I did or another Christmas small that I had in my stash. Because I have some Mill Hill kits and some other small Christmas freebies that have just been languishing, and so I decided to do that. As you can see from the board here, there's a lot of red for called but not started. I was really good until about July, and then I just sort of fell off the wagon, and it is what it is. So, but I did, I'm going to show you all the ones that I stitched or fully finished, and I'm also going to put up the second board here because it's got the numbers on it for what I ended up with. And so I've got, of the 25 on the board, I started 12, which is not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Of those 12, I finished 7. And of those 7, I fully finished 4. So at the end of this year, I did end up with 4 fully finished Christmas ornaments, and I've got 3 more that I could very easily finish, and then 5 more that are at least started. So not mad at it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a version of this for 2026, but I haven't quite sorted out how I want to do it. So more to come on my plans video that I have not filmed yet. So let's look at the actual finishes. We'll rotate through. So we'll do fully finishes. I got enough that I can rotate. So the first one that I fully finished is this one. This is Noel. This is called Evergreen. I want to call it Noel because it says Noel, but it's Evergreen, and it's by Summer House Stitchworks. I couldn't tell you what these flosses were, except that I'm pretty sure they were Roxy flosses from last year's countdown, the holiday countdown stitch along that they do. And it's a pink, a green, and a red. And it's just a little flat fold ornament, which I think is super cute. And then next, I'm gonna go finish, fully finish, finish, just for fun. This is Season's Greetings. This is a Teresa Kogut pattern. I think it's gonna be a flat fold ornament just like this one. It's about the same size. So just imagine this. Just copy paste. The other thing I should say is that I just pulled like a palette of colors, and I used it for most if not all of the ornaments. So this is probably sort of close to called for, but not exactly. Like if there's a dark red on here, it's the same dark red that you're going to see on all the rest of them in my pile. Same with the greens and the golds. They're Christmas ornaments. I wasn't going to be too. I know that they were, you know, charted, and some of the ball book patterns used DMC, some used overdyes. You know, I just had a palette, and then I would pick and go, and I'd add more if I needed to. So next we've got this little cutie. This is a Jeanette Douglas pattern. I think this is from the first year's Bobble book, if I remember, and there were a pattern called like Jeanette's Trio, and I think there were 2. This is the pin cushion. I think the other 2 were like you could do the spools that she does. And I just did this cute little pillow, and I will tell you, if you look at the pattern, I believe it also says Merry Christmas here. It was 1/1, and I just wasn't in the mood, so I just moved this top border down. I think that's what I did. I don't have pattern photos for these because they're just in the books, and I believe they're only in the books, so you can't go out and like buy it anyway. But look at that little birdie on that bowl. So cute. All right, next, this is another Jeanette Douglas pattern from the next the next year, I believe. So this is called Our Dear Home. I just finished this like last week. I don't remember what this fabric is, but you can see it's like this pretty blue, slightly aqua-y linen. And there's a little deer in a house. And it did say 2024, but I stitched 2025 because I finished it. And then she has this one from this year's book that's called like Our Deer something as well. Keep the deer theme going. Next, we've got we've got two more fully finishes. This is by, I'm pretty sure this is Heartstring Savory, Jingle All the Way. In the book, it's red, and the fabric is red, and the what's it called? The thing, the rope, the string, the ribbon that the Jingle Bells is on is green, but I didn't have any red fabric. I had plenty of green fabric, so I just switched it. Everything else is the same. So we just have black and a gold and a red. And then it's just finished with a little flat fold ornament. Not really flat fold, just a little flat ornament. It's mostly round, right? A little wonky. Circles are hard. This is one of those pre-cut circles would come in really handy. However, I didn't have any, so I had to cut this myself. And you can see it's a little bit wonky right there. But it's cute. It's done. One more finish, and then one more fully finish, and then we're done with the completed baubles of 2025. So this is a freebie from Hands On Design. This was not in the Jingle Ball book. I think this is on her website too. I also have like a little card version of it, but I also have a printout, so I'm not exactly sure. I know I ended up stitching the card version, but I think you might be able to get this as a PDF somewhere for free. Anyway, just cute little sleigh. It's a sleigh all day. Probably will also be a little ornament as well. And yeah, this is just a scrap piece of who knows what, same color palette situation as the others. And then lastly, last finish, fully finish, is this little mill hill. It's called Cozy Cabin. And it's just this lovely little winter chalet. Sparkly beads. And I mean, these usually this one at least came with a magnet, so you could turn it into a magnet like for your fridge. I just put a piece of felt on the back, sandwiched some ribbon in there, and it's been hanging on my Christmas tree. Super cute. So, yeah, I feel like this was a good endeavor to have the Bauble Christmas Whipco board, and I am strongly considering doing it again in 2026, but I think I won't have 25 things on it. But I mean, this is a lot more ornaments that I would have stitched, you know, of my own accord had I not had a plan for it. So that's a good thing. Next, I have an ornament. I think I've got two more Christmases, and then we're done with Christmas. This is the ornament that I stitched for my partner this year. This is a freebie from the Blue Flower, so I don't have a picture of it because I believe the only version of it is the PDF you could download as a freebie from the Jingle Ball this year. And it's super cute. So we have a lot of flickers in our yard, and so I've stitched him a number of bird ornaments over the years. And so here's this year's. This is, I'm pretty sure it's Aloe from the Other Side Lugana from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. This is the last of it. I have used this linen this Lugana for so many projects. I feel like it's just a nice neutral, and it's like it's a little bit minty green, so it sets off the Christmas bird very nicely. So I stitched this with all the called for DMC. The only exception is I actually used the darker, like one number darker of the bird color, because I want to say it was called for in 642 and I stitched him in 647, or the reverse, because the lighter one matched the fabric almost exactly, and I wanted him to stand out. And then his little hat, In the pattern, it was Rainbow Whisper, or something like, or Rainbow Gallery, something. I didn't have it, so it's just a pretty green from Roxy Floss. That just looks nice with the fabric. And then this is just a piece of foam board, some felt on the back, and then I did the pom-poms, and I added the red cording because I felt like it needed a little pop of something. Just the pom-poms themselves just looked meh. But isn't he cute? And then I lied. I have one more ornament. I just don't have it with me. And this is the one I stitched for my niece. This is Rumi from K-Pop Demon Hunters. If you haven't watched K-Pop Demon Hunters, you should go watch it immediately. It's on Netflix. This was from a Etsy shop called xstitch_verse. And I'll put the pattern in here because there are also like different versions you could have stitched. The fabric is from also Lugana from Fiberlicious in the color, I think it's called April Showers, Bring May Flowers. And then it's stitched with all the called for DMC, and then just finished with the purple chenille is from Lady Dot Creates. I think it's the color Wizard, and then the blue sparkly stuff, I have no idea. It was in the stash. It could have come from I don't know where it came from. I have some finishing stuff that just came from like Goodwill bags or estate sales, so probably from that. Anyway, so lots of Christmas this year, which is not like me, but it means we're going to take a break next year maybe and just stitch all Halloween all the time. Okay, last Christmas piece is from Hello from Liz Matthews, and so this is part of her 12 Days of Christmas set of patterns, and this is day 4 for Calling Birds, or the 4th day of Christmas, and this is my finish. It says Joy to the World. It's got these beautiful little birds on it, and stitched with all the called for DMC, and I'm stitching all of these on 40 count fog linen from, I want to say it's Fiber on a Whim. It's just a nice neutrally color. And I have started day 5, although I haven't stitched on it recently. So this rate, if I only finish one a year, I'm never going to be done with these. But I think they're all released, or we're still waiting on day 12. I can't remember now. We're close. They're close. They're either all out or we're waiting on one, and I have almost all of them purchased. So, okay, last Christmas. Next, we're moving on to fall. Fall stitching is next. So in September, I went to the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit that's hosted by Acorns and Threads, which is a needlework shop near me in Portland, Oregon. Pinwith is what it's affectionately called. Is a pretty big stitching retreat. I think there were 200 or 300 people in the space this year. They had a bigger space than they have in the past. This is my 2nd year going. And the pattern designers were the Artsy Housewife and Krista West from Avlia Folk Embroidery. And so I finished a project by the Artsy Housewife. It's called By Moonlight. I think I have a picture to show you. I am not sure if she's released this yet. I don't think I've seen it, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been. But here is my finish of it. This is the called for fabric and some of the called for floss that came with the kit, and then I subbed in the purples. They're all Pirate and Robin purples. It was, as you saw, hopefully, and if you didn't, charted in reds and oranges. And so if I remember correctly, the dark purple is aubergine, the lightest purple is rum burgundy, and the other one is I'm totally blanking. I'll write it here. This is also going to be an easy frame one. So I actually bought a frame and then I don't like it. So, just nice little, it's almost square. It's not quite, but it will fit in a square frame. And I don't think most folks will notice that. It's a tiny bit taller than it is wide. The other thing that I fully finished for Pinwist this year is my my small for the Smalls Exchange. And this is a freebie on the Artsy Housewives webpage. Actually, I think you need to get to it through her Patreon, if I remember right. If you go to her Patreon page, there's a freebies section. And this is called Irises. And I did not stitch this in the called for. I just subbed in colors. I picked my finishing fabric first, and I picked colors that would look nice with that, and I turned it into this little needle book. So that's finish number 32. We're almost done. This is going to be a short finish period this year. I only have like 5 more things in front of me. So next, continuing on into fall, this is a freebie from Maximum Cross Stitch. It's called Fall is Greater. And this fall is greater than summer, fight me. And here's my little finish. This is stitched on, I want to say it's Panettone from Roxy Floss. It was a little scrap, I think, left over from one of the holiday countdown stitch alongs. And it's stitched with all Roxy Floss. The only change I made is I turned some of the motifs so they weren't all facing the same way. I wish I had thought to do that earlier and I would have organized them better, but it's just sort of random because I didn't like that they were all the same. But isn't it cute? So cute. I think it's going to be a pillow. Someday. Next, this is a Teresa Kogut pattern called Silhouette's Quaker. And I started this back when it came out in 2022. I think this was a market release in 2022, and I loved it. I love a Quaker. I love a Halloween Quaker. And so I ordered the floss pack from somebody, and I wasn't thinking about the fact that it was charted, or the model was stitched on 40 count. I think it said you need like 2 skeins of the brown black and like 1 skein of the green. And so that's what I bought. Well, when you stitch it 2/2 on 32 count, you need a lot more floss. And so when I went to buy more, of course the die lots changed, and I've talked about this, I think, on several videos in the past. But anyway, the die lots changed, and so it wasn't going to work. I couldn't fudge it. I just didn't like it. So somebody suggested to just kind of crop the pattern, and so I did. And so this is all of it that I'm going to stitch. I did like a half a motif here. I moved the year down here. I think I don't know if I did something funky up here as well. This side of the pattern, it does stop here. This side would keep going. So yeah, it's done. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It does fit in a frame. I think it might make a cute flat fold. But it's done. Called for floss, which is over dyed something, and then the fabric is also Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers Lugana in the colorway Queen Crepe Myrtle. It is a lavender green variegated, which plays nicely with this green here. You can kind of see. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. It's a really cute pattern. Just a bummer that I didn't plan better. But you live and you learn. Okay, next we've got a finish for now sort of situation. So this is a pattern from Lindy Stitches called Autumn Royalty. It's got 3 little birds in it: the Prince of Pies, the Lord of Gourds, and the Count of Candy. And I have stitched 2 of the 3, and so one of my finishes for 2025 is this little guy, the Prince of Pies, that cute little owl in his little pie pile. This fabric is called Diversity. It's from Mystic Fabrics, and I'm stitching it with all the called for floss. I believe I bought the floss pack when this came out. And so you can see in the pattern photo, like, she had fully finished these as 3 little pillows. I decided to stitch them as a oblong situation. And so I stitched this border myself. It's just a single line of the brown that is in the words. And so I'm just going to add the Count of Candy over here. And they will be done. And I think they'll be either a cute long pillow situation, or, which is probably going to be the case because I think finding a frame for this is going to be impossible. But very cute. All right, we only have 2 more finishes, and then we're done with 2025 for now. Hypothetically, I could finish so many things in the next 3 days. I won't, but I could. I realized while I was editing that I forgot one of my finishes. It's on the list. I just spaced because it's framed on the floor. So bonus, actually not really a bonus because I'm going to put this where it should have been, but one more. And I really am so happy with how this looks. This is Brew Crew by Counting Puddles. Put the pattern picture here for a sec. And then here is my FFO. Oh. The fabric is called Phantasm. It's from Atomic Ranch. It's a 28 count Lugana. And, or is it linen? It's a 28 count linen. And this is my own floss conversion. The original is a little bit pinker, cheerful. So this is my Moody Brew Crew conversion. I lost my notes about what exactly it was. I think I could probably recreate it, but I don't really remember. But I know it's got some Roxy Floss, some Forbidden Fiber Co., some Classic Colorworks, and I even think a couple DMCs. And then this is just a frame off the shelf from Michaels. I like that it's like this blue gray and not black with the color palette. And yeah, I'll just show you close up. So I subbed in beads for the French knots, which was a little bit of a pain because you actually have to leave a stitch place for the beads. And so I beaded as I went. And then I did all the black work on the steam at the end. And I think it looks, I'm so happy. Like, look how beautiful the fabric looks. And somehow even like, it's even got like this kind of bright spot here that, I don't know, it kind of looks really cool. Did not plan that. So, yeah. All right, back to editing. This is a big finish that I know I showed on a recent Flosstube video. It is called Midnight Magic by Stitch Rovia, or Emma Congdon. This is in a magazine, but also available on her website as PDF. And here is my finish. This will fit in a standard frame. I just don't have the right one that I like. I feel like it needs something more fun than the ones I have in my stash. The fabric is called Wicked Nights. It's another Lugana from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. Shocker. Shocking no one. Oh. You can still get this fabric. It is darker in some of the other fiber types. And I stitched it with all the called for DMC. And I think it's just delightful. Delightful. The called for is like navy. And so some of the colors pop more. It's a little less like, so this is very like candy Halloween to me, but I think it's really cute. And then finally, my last big finish of 2025, I finished this the very end of November, is Come to the Garden by Teresa Kogut. So I started this. This was my New Year, New Start in 2022. So January 1, 2022 is when I started this. And so 23, 24, 25, almost 3.5, 4 years to finish it. But it's big. And there was a couple years in there where it got like 2 days. So anyway, here is my finish. So I just showed this on my last Flosstube. I thought it would be a great ender to my finish parade as well. It's stitched on 36 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim linen, and all the called for floss. And I love it. It's such a beautiful piece. I just need to find a frame for it. Definitely it's getting framed and hung somewhere in the house. It's not too unusual of a size. I found some things out thrifting that have been close. I just need to find the right thing. Yeah. One more quick roll through so you can enjoy. Oh, how fun it is. And now I've stitched a giant Teresa Kogut, and I don't have any desire to stitch anymore. Who knows? Maybe she'll come out with something else. That's up my alley. But it was a very Teresa Kogut heavy finish year. I think I finished 4 of them because they were still in my stash as big things to finish. And hope you enjoyed the double roll through of that. So that is all of my finishes for 2025. Yay! I'm going to try. I was really hoping I could hit 40 finishes. I don't know. I like round numbers. But I don't know if that's realistically going to happen. I don't really have anything that's like super close. I'd really like to finish Stitch for Pride, or at least one more motif. They're pretty quick. I might be able to start and finish one of those in the next 3 days. The other thing is I'm still working on my holiday countdown stitch along from Evertote's Modern Folk Embroidery and Roxy Floss Co. And I'd like to finish that before the end of the year. I think I'm on day 16 or 17 of 25. So, I don't know if that's going to happen either. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed seeing all of my finishes and some of my fully finishes from this year. I'm hoping that I will film a plans video next weekend, and then we will see what 2026 brings for Flosstube and cross stitch and the world in general. Happy stitching, folks. Hope you had a great 2025, and let's see what 2026 brings.